Creighton's point guard legacy has a new chapter, and Nik Graves is ready to write it. Let's roll.
Heads up, it's the Roll Jays podcast, the voice of the Creighton basketball fan. With your hosts, Jimmy Allen, Alex Drake, and Casey Matthews. Join the crew and meet CU players, coaches, and a whole lot more. Now, the Roll Jays podcast. Here's Jimmy Allen.
Welcome in to another edition of the Roll Jays podcast. I'm Casey Matthews. This podcast is brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contracting. We're joined today. I'm fired up. The newest point guard at Creighton, Nik Graves. UNC Charlotte transfer, averaged 17 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists a game. He's a Durham native. You know I love my North Carolina boys. So I am fired up to have Nik Graves, and he's fired up to be here. So, Nik, welcome in, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
You got it. You got it. So, listen, I want this to be a conversation. I want us to sort of get to know each other. I want the fans to kind of get a feel for who you are. We've been dealing with some technical difficulties. I've seen firsthand how you handle a little bit of adversity, and for our fans to know you handled it quite well. So, first step is done, and I'm excited to get a chance to talk to you today. Tell me, as a fan, right? I'm a Bluejay fan. I've seen you play. I've seen your film. What makes you special? Why are you the guy that can come in here and, there's a long list of point guards that have played here. What is it about Nik that you feel like you can come in here and kind of take the mantle?
I think for myself, I've been through a lot of my college basketball career. Being in a position where in my freshman year, I didn't play that much at all. And then sophomore year, had a big role in being a true point guard. And then even this year, just being in a role where I was able to flourish in a scoring aspect. So being able to be versatile and just be a leader on the court as well, being that point guard role. I think that's what really would make me special.
Yeah. And I mean, how did you get there, right? You said your first year didn't have as big of a role. Second year you did. What were the steps that you took to ensure that you did get a bigger role?
Really just, hard work. As cliche as it might sound, I think for me, a big part was just staying in the gym, realizing that I was recruited to go play at Charlotte for a reason in the first place. So just being able to show that, and obviously every team has their preseason scrimmages that are sort of behind the book. So just being able to get my foot in the door with those scrimmages started there, and then just really being able to flourish and continue to build off what I was able to do each and every year.
So you said the scrimmage, is that where you really feel like you kind of popped a little bit and your coaches sort of saw what you could be?
Yeah, I think so.
What was that scrimmage? You remember who you played?
We played Winthrop our first scrimmage. We had 2 scrimmages. So Winthrop was the first scrimmage. I remember I didn't start. But I played pretty well, probably 12 or something like that. On a team where we had a bunch of guys that ended up transferring to high major Power 5 schools. And then I think the next game was Coastal Carolina. And I started that game and I ended up having 12 and 10 assists. So, ended up, like I said, just being able to show what I was able to do and capable of, and what I've been working so hard to have an opportunity for.
Yeah. So as I read some of the stuff here from Coach Mack and some of the other coaches, about you and the things that they're excited about having you here, well, one of the things that they talk about is your ability to create, but then I look at your numbers, you scored 17. So it's not like you can't, you can't score it yourself too. As a point guard, what's your favorite part about being a point guard? Do you prefer to be a score first guy, or do you look more to give it to others?
I always been a pass first guy. Growing up, I was a Tar Heel fan, North Carolina Tar Heel fan. So
nothing wrong with that. Don't say that like you're embarrassed. We're gonna be back.
Yeah, all their point guards were left-handed growing up, and pass first guys being Kendall Marshall. Marcus Page obviously developed into a scoring guy, but he was pretty pass first coming in. And then when I was really able to comprehend what was going on, he wasn't a lefty, but Ty Lawson won the national championship there. So just looking at all the pass first point guards that at North Carolina. I think that's really that's my reasoning for liking to be a pass first guy.
But it's interesting though, is you mentioned some of those guys, like I could be wrong here, but I think your size is similar to that of like a Marcus Page. But obviously you're bigger than a Ty Lawson,
Yep.
Which that's kind of a throwback name, man. I'm surprised you're even old enough to remember that name. Are those guys, guys that you really modeled your game after, or were there other basketball players across the country that you feel like you look to kind of guide your game?
And
if so, who were those people?
I'd probably say those Carolina guys. I didn't really I wouldn't say I watched too much NBA games growing up. And if I did, I feel like the younger, like when I was younger, the big guys were like the Derrick Roses, people like that. And I wasn't too explosive like that. So I knew that was never going to be my game. So really just watching Carolina. And I mean, that was always a dream school growing up. So just I probably did want to model my game after those left-handed guys they were number 5. That's my reason for wearing number 5. So
okay, there you go. That makes sense. So were you like a big Duke hater or what?
Yeah, pretty big Duke hater.
Yeah. To this day, or just when you were younger?
I have to like Duke a little bit more now.
Why is that?
Just graduated from nursing school at Duke, so
Okay.
I like it a little bit now. But still a Duke hater. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, you can't deny both of those programs have such a storied history, and what I'm excited about is what Coach Mack and the team's doing here, and they've been so successful. This has been such a great era of Creighton basketball, and the point guard spot has always been a solid spot for Coach. I mean, he really has to trust his point guards. And did you get that vibe from him during the recruiting process? And the relationship between a point guard and a head coach is so unique. It's different than any other position on the court. Is there anything you can really point to during the recruiting process that really made you feel like this is the place, like Coach Mack's the guy that I want to play for?
Yeah, for me, just that first call I got from Coach Mack, definitely just our visions aligned for what I was looking for at my next spot. And like you said, just the ultimate trust in that point guard position. Obviously, it's one thing to just say anything over the phone, but he really was able to break down film, whether it was on the visit or on a Zoom, and really show me how he instills that ultimate trust. And then just how at the time it would have been if I were to commit to Creighton, how that relationship would be developed. So now now the time's here.
Can you talk about that at all? Like what are some of the ways that you guys discuss like developing that relationship, and what were some of the things that you guys watched on film that made you kind of understand, okay, this guy knows my game and knows how it fits?
Yeah. So just having film of any games that I had, and just sort of showing clips where he showed where somebody like a Stephen Ashworth, what he was doing and how I would do something similar or the same in a game I was playing. So just showing that, the play styles were similar. And then, Stephen was able to really just create a lot of things for people. And I did my own research as well, so I could definitely tell that, what Coach Mack was saying was being backed up in that aspect.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. We talked a little bit about your size. I mean, they list you, I think, at 6'3". I'm sure you're going to fight for every one of those inches, but typically, guys aren't the actual size that they list them at. But you're a bigger point guard than we've had in a little bit. When you look at Stephen Ashworth, look at Ryan Nemhard, you're probably, even Marcus was probably a little bit smaller, than you. But I love that size at that position. And I love the overall length at the point guard position. I think it can really benefit a team, and in the style of play that we've had defensively, I think it can really help with that drop coverage as well, and be able to get some late contests on guys when they're shooting that mid-range jumper that I'm sure you're going to be trying to force them into. Was there anything that was really attractive to you about the style of play here, and what are some of the elements of the way Creighton plays that really kind of drew you in and made you feel like you can succeed in the system?
I feel for me, just the biggest thing that drew me was just the pace of everything that Creighton does. I was at, Charlotte, we played a little bit slower tempo. And I mean, it was just, I feel like the pieces that we had necessarily probably shouldn't have been as fast, but I think a big part of my game is my speed. So just being able to utilize that in Creighton's offense and defense as well. I think that'd be a key factor for me. And I think that aligns most with my game.
Good. How about Omaha? I mean, you came on a visit. You're obviously, I mean, Charlotte's a big city. Durham's a big city in its own right. Is there anything about the city of Omaha that was cool for you to see and attractive for you in terms of thinking about where you want to play next?
Honestly, for me, it was a big shock in general. Being in Omaha, I mean, you think of Nebraska in general and its cornfields and stuff like that. So, honestly, just seeing the city atmosphere and, I mean, Creighton's one of the biggest things in the area. So just being able to see, and I kind of felt like that family atmosphere, even from other people. We had a breakfast. I forget what the name of the place was, but someone came up to Coach Mack saying like, "Oh, good job this season," stuff like that. So I could just tell, Creighton basketball and just the fan base is gonna take care of me.
It is, man, and I could tell you this personally: like that man can't go anywhere without people stopping him and just telling him how good of a job he's doing, how much they appreciate him. And that's one of the things that I love about him and have so much respect for is the way he wants the program to be represented in the community. Obviously, you got to put a good product on the court. You want people to come and watch. But things like the pink out game that we do here, that he's made a huge impact on the community that way. But I've really noticed too is the level and the type of person that they're recruiting right now. Very high character, people that are still really good players. He's made comments publicly about he's not recruiting selfish basketball players anymore. He's going to recruit guys that know how to play together. Because, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of this, the locker room last year was so tight and such a close-knit group that helped lead to a lot of the success that they had. You talked earlier on this interview about your leadership skills. Knowing that this locker room, there's some holdovers, some really good players coming back, but there's also a lot of new faces.
Right.
As somebody who looks at themselves as a leader, what are some of the things you plan on doing in that locker room to make sure that close-knit, feel remains?
Yeah, I think for me, it starts really as soon as people commit. Just that initial reach out. Already talked to some guys. Some guys got dogs. I got a dog. Just building little things like that. Just starting that off the court bond. Because ultimately we're gonna end up being brothers going to war for each other on the court. So just starting that bond early.
And who have you talked to so far?
I talked to Owen. I know Owen got a dog, so probably has some.
Are we bringing the dogs with us to Omaha or what?
Yeah, 100%.
Really?
Yeah, I'll probably bring my dog.
What kind of dog?
I got a mini golden doodle.
That's not what I thought you were going to say. I don't even know what I thought you were actually going to say, but I did not think it was going to be mini golden doodle. Okay.
Yeah, mini golden doodle.
So what's the dog's name?
Ace.
Ace. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can get down with Ace. And so you and Owen talked about dogs. What else? What else are you guys? There's got to be more to it than that.
No, not really. Just, I mean, we talked about when, moving in, stuff like that. Just basic, everyday conversation, nothing too crazy. Trying to get on the game with some of the guys, play some Fortnite, stuff like that. But really just like I said, any off the court things, because ultimately we're going to be on the court for a long time together, and we'll get that part figured out once we're on the court. So just trying to figure out everyone as a person first.
So you're a dog guy, you're a gamer. What else? What else does Nik do when he's not playing basketball?
Honestly, dog takes up a lot of time when you're not playing baskball. So doing a lot of stuff with dog, whether it's especially he's a puppy, so he's 9 months old, I think. So
wait till you have kids, Nik.
Yeah,
you think dogs take up your time?
So yeah, but I'll probably take up fishing. I did a little fishing when I was younger, but Probably take up fishing, something like that. I got to figure out my new thing in Omaha, but try to figure it out soon.
We'll have to get you connected with Ryan Kalkbrenner. Ryan's a big fisher. He loves to get out and fish. There's a lot of local places. We actually have a lot of fans here that have some property that have fishing ponds on their property. So if they're watching, I'm sure they'll find a way to reach out, get you out to the farm area and get that pole in the water, man. So how about any former players? Have you got a chance to talk to Steven or Ryan Kalkbrenner about their experience here?
Not too much. I talked to Steven. He was on my visit right before. He was shooting for the 3-point competition, the Reese's 3-point competition. So he was on my visit. But I didn't get to talk to him too long, probably like a 2-minute conversation. So that's really the only person I've talked to.
Yeah. And so in terms of like you said you had guys on your team at Charlotte that transferred, and obviously you went through this transfer process. Like, can you talk a little bit about because I think a lot of fans don't always understand all the steps that go into that and how much thought and time you have to put into making a decision like that. Tell us about how hard was that decision? What are the factors that went into play? And then, ultimately, why are you excited to have made the choice that you made?
Yeah. Definitely transferring was really hard. Mom was a 1,000-point scorer at UNC Charlotte. Sister just committed to play there for her college basketball career. So just the thought of transferring in general was definitely a difficult decision. But I think for me, my ultimate goal, is to make the tournament and make a big run in the tournament. And that can definitely be, difficult in a one-bid league, being the American, especially when you have a team that has such a big money pot with Memphis, so much bigger than everyone else.
Sure.
So, for me, just trying to find a team that would help me in my basketball career, along with, my personal goal should be every team's, team goal as well, making the tournament and, getting as far as possible. So find a team that, really, really has that as well. And the reason I'm excited is just because, it's definitely a family atmosphere. For me, Coach Mack and the rest of the staff made it so it didn't feel as transactional. I feel like nowadays obviously the NIL and money is so easy to get caught up in those things. And for me, just, I'm blessed to be an opportunity where, no matter where I went, I was going to get something. So really just finding a place that took away that transactional piece of things and really wanted to find a place that is going to make me better as a person on and off the court. And help me achieve my goal of making that tournament and making it far in the tournament.
Man, that's so cool to hear. I think as a fan, you care about the level of person, like we talked about before, that the team is recruiting. For you to talk about things like that and say, being non-transactional is important to you, I think speaks a lot to Coach Mack and the staff and their character. What are the things that are important to them? I think it speaks to the fact that your visions align, that ultimately you want to win basketball games, and that certainly I don't think if anybody's going to give you money, you're going to turn it down. But it's not the driving force behind your decision. Do you feel like that? Put that into perspective for us, because you were recruited by more teams than just Creighton, some really good teams. Was Creighton really the one that I guess wasn't transactional? Do you feel like pretty much everybody else was? And like how do you pick up on that? Just tell us more about that.
Yeah, I would say I don't think they were the only team, but they were definitely a team that first conversation with Coach Mack was like, who is this kid as a person? Who is this kid off the court? And then it was basketball. So Creighton was the only school to do that. A lot of the schools, it wasn't just, all right, we can give you this amount of money and come play for us, but it was more like, all right, this is what we like about your game. This is what, why we think you fit in our system, et cetera. So Coach Mack was the only coach to just be like, like, who are you as a person, basically? What do you like to do outside of basketball, hobbies, stuff like that. So I could tell that I'd be taken care of by the coaching staff and Coach Mack, and they didn't. I mean, obviously they care about my basketball ability, but that's not the first thing that comes to mind when they're dealing with 20 to 25-year-old kids.
Right. I mean, from like your parents' perspective too, was that huge for them?
Yeah, 100%. My mom and dad definitely wanted a place where, especially being a decent distance from home, felt like the most family atmosphere as well. So yeah, definitely a big factor for them as well.
That's cool. You're obviously close, with your parents, and you talked about your mom being a 1,000-point scorer at Charlotte. So tell us, like, who was the biggest influence from a basketball perspective? Was it mom?
I don't know, honestly. My dad didn't play any college basketball, but he probably put the ball in my hands, I would say. But then, I mean, as I got a little older, mom probably did a little bit more to the yelling, the critiquing, things of that nature. So
She's coaching you.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's see. How old were you when you could beat mom for the first time? Don't lie either, Nick. Like, if you give me some crazy number, like I was 6, I know you're gonna lie to me.
No, I'd probably say I want to say 7th, 8th grade, probably.
Mom was giving you buckets till 7th or 8th grade. There's the headline.
Yeah.
Well, were your game and her game obviously a little bit different, but similar in nature?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I've never seen a full game of her play. I just heard all these stories, fables, whatever they are. Seeing the little stats. So I don't know.
Are you implying you don't believe them or what?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything with my own eyes, so it's hard to believe anything. But
okay, Mom, mom's gonna watch this too, right?
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, she knows I haven't seen anything with my own eyes, so can't believe anything.
She might have to dust off the shoes and just show you she still got it a little bit. I need to see that. We'll make sure we have that on film for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
That's awesome. Well, we're catching up with Nik Graves here on the Roll Jays podcast, sponsored by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. Let's talk a little bit more, about on the court. Your game. Obviously, you talked about your speed. Talk about pick and rolls. Talk about defense. Like, what are some of those other areas of your game that you feel like can really translate to Creighton? And then give us some areas of improvement that you're working on this summer that you want to see, noticeable improvement from the time you walk on the court here in Omaha.
Yeah. I think, like you said, pick and rolls, just anything ball screen wise. I think I'll be able to flourish in Creighton's offense. Just the space in that, the coaching staff provides for the guards and just anyone coming off the screen. I think I'll definitely be able to thrive in that. And I was fortunate enough to be in a lot of ball screens this year and just really learned how to just navigate my way through ball screens, even freshman and sophomore year. So just keeping, developing in that aspect. And then defensively, I think, like you said, I'm a little bit bigger at the guard spot. So just being able to guard multiple positions. I had to do that every now and then, even this year. So just being able to use my size and even, getting in the post every now and then. I like to play out of the post offensively as well. So
okay,
just being able to do that and provide some versatility if needed. And then in terms of, improving, obviously, just continuing to build consistency in my jump shot. I think this year my numbers necessarily didn't show exactly how hard and how well I shot the ball, just because I was forced to take a lot of shots that I probably wouldn't have taken.
Sure.
But I think for me, yeah, just continuing to develop consistency and I think that's it.
No, it's a great answer, and I think you're coming to a staff that knows how to develop players, and knows how to to improve or help them improve in certain areas. I think you see, I don't know if you paid attention at all to Ryan Kalkbrenner's numbers throughout his career. Came in as a guy who was not a 3-point shooter in any stretch, and by the end of his his season last year you had to guard him on the 3-point line. He just was in the NBA draft combine. the improvement that he made in the 2-year gap there from a shooting perspective were off the charts. So I think what you see here is there's a history of coaches that put the time in, put the effort in. You'll have fantastic graduate assistants as well that will take their time on the court with you and help you develop your game. So I think you're right. I think what you're saying is right. It's about consistency, and that you're going to come play for some coaches that are going to drive you, and they're going to inspire you to spend whatever time you can and on the court, working to get better, because you just said it. You want to not just make an NCAA tournament, but you want to advance and really get that feeling of, hopefully winning a national championship, and obviously that's got to be everybody's goal.
Right.
But we'll know, this, you won't ever get there if we just stay the same. You look at this team, Creighton's obviously gone all in on the portal, right? Really invested in this team. You see a Josh Dix, you see the Owen Freemans, and we see other guys that have come in, right? Are there, besides Owen and the dog connection, are there any other guys, any other transfers that have come in that you're really excited to play with, and maybe see areas that your game can help them and vice versa?
Honestly, nobody in particular. Just honestly ready to, like I said, just go out there and be able to lead at that point guard position. Obviously everyone is coming to Creighton with their own abilities, and just helping gel everything together. Obviously there's a lot of great talent coming in, young, old. So really just getting ready to gel with everyone. And my role as a point guard is, like I said, obviously get to know people off the court, but you got to figure out their tendencies and stuff on the court and what they like to do, where they like to catch it for their shots, stuff like that. Where people are comfortable on the court, just stuff like that. So really I'm honestly excited to get to that first day in practice and get gelling to get this together.
I'm excited about the competition. And, you've got a young point guard named Ty Davis that's on this roster. And we had him on the show. He's talked about how excited he is to have you here. But what I love is, like, he's also excited about competing for that spot. And, I think if you're a real hooper and a real player, you're welcome to the competition. You're welcome to fighting for your spot, but you can do it and also still be really close with the guys that you're fighting for those spots with. How do you see that point guard competition, the relationship between fellow point guards play out? Like, is that something you've dealt with it? You weren't a starting point guard, right? So, like, it's going to be different for you, coming here, and now you're kind of penciled in as the guy. Yeah. So, like, is that exciting to you? Like, how do you feel about that?
Definitely excited. Any competition at the end of the day is healthy. Any healthy competition at the end of the day, helps everyone get better at the end of the day. And honestly, anything can happen. And if it's the best for the team, then I'm with it. At the end of the day, I want to win games. Full transparency, and like I said, the national championship is the ultimate goal. So that healthy competition isn't going to do anything but get everyone prepared for that goal. So I'm excited.
That's what I want to hear, man. I think that's what we all want. So talk to us a little bit before I let you go here. We'll do, I don't know if we'll call it rapid fire, but I want to know a little bit more about you. Pre-game meal, like favorite restaurants. Off the court stuff. Like if I'm going to run into Nik around town, what kind of restaurant am I going to run into? Because I like to eat, man.
I'm a big Chipotle guy. That's probably I'm going to Chipotle before I go to any nice steakhouse, anything like that. I'm going to Chipotle for 100%.
Really?
Yeah, I love Chipotle.
You haven't had steakhouses in Omaha, man. You gotta get with the steakhouses here. You're gonna have all the steakhouses here after you, trying to get that, that endorsement now.
Yeah, definitely, open to hearing those as well. But Chipotle guy.
Just tell me you got to have the host of the Roll Jays podcast with you. We'll go together. So Chipotle over a steakhouse, okay? That's interesting. I love Chipotle, but I don't know if I can join you there. How about like some like shoes? Are you a shoe head?
A little bit.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
So then what's your thing then?
On the court or off the court?
No, I just mean like if you're like, listen, some guys, now, 50, 60 pairs of shoes, it's even more than that. It's crazy. Like what if you had to have something that you like, you kind of are known by, like what would that be?
Probably I don't know. I'm a dunks guy. I got a lot of dunks. Yeah, so probably just having a lot of dunks.
You seem too normal, man. You seem too seem too mature right now. Like I was expecting some Jordans. I was expecting some high level Jordans, or maybe some high level fashion stuff that everybody's doing now. But I love it, man. I love the simplicity. Listen, we're excited to get you to Creighton. Excited to get you into the Omaha community. I think our fans are, they're fired up for a great year. I think seeing the guys we brought in, the guys that are outgoing have given these fans, and myself included, something to be proud of, something to look forward to, and knowing the level of player, but really to me, more importantly, level of person that we continue to bring in to Creighton is really, really exciting and really promising, for the future. So really appreciate you joining me today. Is there anything you think that the fans should know about Nik Graves? Like what can they expect from you on and off the court, over your time here? And then we'll wrap with that.
I think as far as on the court, just I'm gonna play hard to the last whistle. No matter what, down 20, up 20. You're gonna definitely get a hard playing point guard. I'm gonna show a lot of emotion on the court, get the crowd involved. As best as I can. So that's probably the biggest two things on the court. And then off the court, you kind of just said I'm a pretty normal guy. If y'all see me in Omaha, feel free to speak, anything like that. Love people, love supporters, love fans. So just actually played Fortnite with some kids that DM'd me the other day, some Creighton fans. So shout out to them. But yeah, really just, I'm open to anything in the community, and yeah, I'm a really plain, simple, normal guy.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, cool. Well, Nik, thanks for joining me today on this episode of the Roll Jays podcast, powered by the Big East Energy Network. We are fired up to continue to give you guys a ton of Big East content, a bunch of Creighton content. Check out the network. Check out the other podcasts on the network. We're trying to build something special. This podcast is sponsored by Pixel Fire Marketing, Pyramid Contractors. Nik, thanks again for joining us. Can't wait to get you on, man. We'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.